Namaste. This is the 10th episode. There is an important way of looking at life when you look at it from the perspective of death, or look at the perspective of transience of life. So many people die every day, yet life goes on. Even people very dear, still life goes on. When I look at around me, it's like people are in some kind of hypnotism. They think they will like live all the time. They don't talk to each other because they think like someday something will happen and that will give them an entry in talking. They don't know, they can just die. That's why saying your truth is very important. What you are, what you feel. I wish human thought process works only for yourself. It's the thought world is your own personal world. Everybody has a different thought world. Even the material is same. The association is different. The relationship is different. That you basically in relationship or in relation to something or someone other. So this is a place where I just express myself, without having to think of who is watching, is someone watching, like a personal public diary. When I look at like my parents as humans, I feel so much pain in them. So much pain. Like they are completely lost in life. Broken. That's what it does. This kind of life, it turns you into this repetitive, machinistic person, and whatever you say, the others only hear what you say, but you're inside of you. You hear what you are and what you say. So the contradictions are getting counted up inside. And the more and more you try to live in others' perception, the more you will lose touch with yourself. The more you will be in air, you won't be grounded. And more you will be susceptible to what people think, what people say, what they feel for you. More you will be dependent, and the more miserable you will be. When you're nice to someone, people so fast take that as a some kind of attribute of them and not the attribute of the other person. Totally reverse way of thinking. It's the same thinking in which something is bad, then you put it on others. Something is good, then you take the credit. The realization that everyone will die. These people who are there, they will die one day. Without leaving. That all of this, I know, all of this, everything will melt away. All of the arrogance, everything. The only way to live life is the way of love, but that can only be done if you can come out of your arrogant individualism. See, individualism is required. If you don't love yourself, then that's what's the point, you know? You have been given life, individual life. Decisions that you can make, not something that is forced down on you by parents or society or anything like that. all this cleverness that people have, that they think they are fooling someone in the world. They're not fooling anybody. That is waiting for you. Die any moment. The next moment. Maybe this is the last day. You see. And it's actually not like you're not living. It's basically if the mind tries to project the future so that it can keep moving, it can keep building, it can keep building that structure that it has created, adding to the self-image. So basically there is life and there is a model of life which is created by mind. There is you and there is an image of you which is mind has created. The image that appears in the dreams, that is the image of you. You are sleeping, but someone is, your dreams is acting and doing all of this stuff. That is your self-image. And ideally both of these should be superimposed. Like my image of myself should be same as myself. The mind should record exactly the same thing that are happening, but it doesn't, because of something bad happens and then the mind try to avoid it, that it doesn't happen, because it couldn't face it, because of ego. If you lie to yourself a lot, then that separation becomes more and more. And you start not seeing the world as it is. Then you start living in some kind of image. Look at the fake value that is created, right? People buy like shoes worth like 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs. They're like insane stuff, basically. People have so much money, they can live very happily, they can eat what they want. See, most of the time you cannot even eat any stuff after a certain age. You have to eat like simple food. The money is enough. Yet you can't stop because there is no place. For better or for worse, I I can sense people pain a lot. Try to heal them. But if there is no space, it's hard for me to regenerate the energy. Well, the energy is infinite, but again, that's only if you can connect with the, what you say, the infinity of the life and not just become an image, which you will be, because if, or maybe I have not developed it strongly, one required more sadhana, or maybe this is how it is. Very fundamental thing that someone else's decisions, one, you should respect them also, and other is like they should not affect you beyond a certain point. I mean, what's happening in politics, what's happening in, your favorite hero died, this guy died, these things should not affect you so much because they don't change your immediate surroundings at all. It's like weird. All is so like thought attachments, mental attachments. Most value today, this economy GDP, is not created for necessary things. If you really see, it's wasted on this artificial value like diamonds, artificial value created by marketing and publicity, and then people just to show off. The value lies in the minds of the other people. So you just for you also there is no absolute value. You just use it to show off to other people that yeah, somehow if I wear a diamond of 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, whatever, that adds to my value. It's like now I have now 30x in value. That's not how it is. Your value is actual value is still the same. Everything is impermanent. That's why love is important. You never know whatever you say to someone, maybe the last words you say. Think back in your life, how many people you met. These, that's the last time and the only time you will are going to meet those people. And the only way for you to be is actually be the honest self, is the true self. Whatever you are feeling, even though it is coming from the mind, that is also fine. It's part of you. Only I could get into the mind of the other people and see the world like how they see it. It's like, how do you see this world? Like, like I see this world like this. How do you see it? And then just can just correct it. Like now, put it this way, this way, this way. See, look at it now. World makes total sense. Comparative value, this comparative happiness, it means that you have to keep running, or you have to either keep putting the other person down or keep increasing your value. For the richest person to be richest, he has to keep earning money more and more and more. But one day it is going to go. Things will change. Won't be able to do it anymore. Any sports, any field. You cannot keep scoring runs like that. You cannot keep scoring goals like that. Someday it is going to go. And all of that comparison to the greatest in the world, the best in the world, to be higher than the other person, to be able to do something more. Like in a one set of comparison, you are able to do something more. So what? The other person is able to do something more in the other stuff. People put down other people so that they can feel superior. They can feel the power, or they can feel the control. And most of it doesn't actually happen. Maybe in their youth it used to happen consciously, but as you get older it just happens. You just become it. There is no choice, because now the mind is also weak. And you have not developed humility inside yourself. That's why old age will be so much terrible for people like that. If they have not developed the humility, like that you are just a transient piece, and you came, you did something, and you are gonna go. There might be more people who will come who might be able to do better things than you, or worse thing, whatever, it doesn't matter. But there will be a time when you will need to depend on other people. Putting your ego aside. So those kind of people, they hold money so that they can get like safety of old age. It's like, yeah, if I have money, obviously some people will take care of me, you know. But that's like buying human emotions. Can you buy human emotions? Can someone loves you just because you have money? They can give you attention. So that's why love is not even in the discussion these days. It's just attention. If you are rich, everyone will pay attention to you. And that's what most of the people want. Attention. But there is a like weird loophole in this. Like if everyone starts paying attention to each other, you don't need money to buy it. It's this distrust which is creating all of this. If people are more helping to each other, you don't need so many social systems. You don't need so many big insurance companies. Because biggest insurance is like someone will help you. See, that's why it's a dark age. Why people think like it is the best way they are living. Human being cannot be born individual, right? But that has also been brushed aside. It's like and this is the difference between the arrogant individualism and the humble individualism. Humble individualism is the understanding that even though you want, neither can you live someone else's life, neither you can, basically you have no place to judge anyone. Understanding your individuality, like I can only see life from my perspective. And the arrogant individualism is like it's like I am the best, basically. That is also fine in a way, but like it's comparative in a sense. It's like I am the best because others are low than me. No, you are the best because you are the best version of yourself. You are the unique specimen. But if you are doing it by comparing, then it changes everything. So after the corruption in the religions in the world, after everything just became about power, the truth was lost. Then the world started trying to make new gods. There is capitalism in which money was made god. So in old days, people don't think like God will help you. There's like money will help you. Money doesn't do the helping. Human beings do the helping. Now money is a career, but that is also assumed value created by humans. That only works in a system. Otherwise it has no absolute value. So to control that uncertainty, people will try to gather more and more power. And their entire life they will devote to it. Instead of just talking to people. I realized that there is so much disconnection between what I see the world as and what the real world is. The real world is people don't trust anyone. Like that is the reality. I see like couples, parents, brothers. Nobody trusts each other. It's like they're like, no, this guy must be something. Even husband wife, they must like, what if she leaves me? And this is getting more and more pronounced in the new age that you are entering, in which you can just divorce, and so if you have it, then you are left on your own. So you need to have your own backup plan, basically, because there is no trust when the other person flips. What if the other person is lying and trying, like, how do we get out of this? Give me power. Either the power of the love should be so immense that it just drowns it. But that much power is impossible. Nothing is impossible. You believe. If you look closely, Jesus has only this power only. Whatever miracles he performed is just like secondary. Maybe he saved 4 or 5 people by that. But the reality was his sacrifice, which saved maybe much more people out of darkness, of like hatred and negative, hurting themselves, looking down on themselves and looking down on others. But then that also people have converted into an object. See, when thought holds something, it removes the more existential details out of it. Right now I am seeing life, there are so many empty holes. Like there are so many trees. I have not observed every tree clearly. Right? If there are so many clouds, then I have not observed every cloud. The raw data is much more than what I am observing or what I am aware of, right? What I am taking. So maybe the mind will only take, okay, it was a nice sunset, good sun, no clouds, little air. But that is not all that is happening. You know, there is so much more richness to it. But the mind space is it's like tabular forms. It's like 3 reasons why you are overthinking. This is what is happening in our society, right? 10 reasons why you cannot get a job, 15 reasons of this. It only basically tries to summarize everything in a little. And that summary itself is a biased opinion of the situation. You have looked at the situation from that point of view, but it can be looked from any point of view. So even when we remember like the past figures and all of them, we the mind, based on its own biases, whether you believe in it or not, whether you are in favor of it or against it, you try to omit the existential details, because obviously you cannot record all the existential details. So whatever mind can record, mind records it from the books and all of that, and then it analyzes whether, and after, through the river of consciousness of the people, different people, what they point on it, comment on it, what they remove from it, what they add to it, then it passes on. And that is the main basis where like the real data is also stored. It's stored in your unconscious or subconscious mind, or whatever. Not mind, it's like in your entire existence. And I think it is from that the supreme intelligence of intuition comes from, inner voice basically. So I have these experiences like a lot of times now, but still I have not complete faith in it because I am not able to produce it out of will. It happens, like at certain times it happens, and I just knew it. And doesn't even happen is like when you try to make it happen, it never happens. That's also the thing. Basically, if you have a stake in it, it will not happen. Let's say if you are buying a lottery, but if you are buying a lottery for with a picture, like you will earn and all of this, it will never happen. But if you are just like trying and you're like, okay, then maybe intuitively you can even guess the numbers. So you're like, okay, which number should I play on? See, the money people so much try. If you have intuition, you can just win it like that. This idea also came from intuition. You're like, you can do this. I'm like, yeah, you can do this. Back in Canada, I was completely operated on it. That time I could hear it more clearly and more direct. Or it leads to you to paths which the mind cannot comprehend or mind cannot rationalize. So it's very like out in the air, you are doing something, right? It's scary, basically. So you feel like this is going to happen, but every rationality says that it's not possible. You know? But you're like, no, it is going to happen. So these three voices, one is the real voice that I'm speaking now. The second is the voice of the mind talking, which is the thought formation, which happens in the dreams. And third is the voice of the intuition. I don't know how it comes basically. It's very feeble and it doesn't even. I mean, if you hold concentration, you can even have discussion with it, but there is a certain space that you need to go. Like now I'm all talking about some weird things, I know, but and this is not completely tested, okay, from my side. I feel like intuition why comes from down here somewhere. Like how, and it's impractical. Like how can the voice come from here? But that's what I feel. Like it's somewhere like down here it comes from. While the thoughts always happen here. That I also observed. Like in dreams, if you observe very carefully, your entire energy, your entire awareness, your entire focus is here. It's like this is the television set here, and you are watching it. You basically the thought is watching itself playing different plays. Dream is the most peculiar, man. Seriously, it's like fantasy of thought, and it itself is watching. So it assumes the role of a player, and it assumes the role of a watcher, and then it just keep watching like having popcorn. Is like, I'm doing this, no, I'm doing this. Wow, man, I'm so good. Look at me. Or something bad happens. Oh my God, what are we doing? So this basically the mind is. It's like watching your childhood video or something, and then you're like, okay, shit, so embarrassing. Or you have done something good, and you're like, oh my God, it was funny. Like, so basically, if you become a tool of mind to gather data, then the mind will have supremacy, and then you will live a very lifeless life in a way. I mean, it's a paradox statement, right? Lifeless life, it cannot be that. But in a way, it's like this state of love when people expand, right? State of fear, people contract. You feel it. Even look at the imagery also. Like fear is shown as like this, while love is shown as like this, like open arms. You see, like, so all of this stuff which happens in mind is also exhibited in the external world. This I start realizing the patterns for like the energy chakras. Like when people are in fear, they go down. They instinctively they were like, they crouch. And when people are feeling like very confident, high self-esteem and all of that, then they stand up straight, and it's like, so even if you see the imagery or the symbolism, you can extract it, because the physical world is just or at least the physical world seen by mind, is just the projection of the mind in reality. The real reality, like, is like a raw data in a way. Whatever sense you can make out of it, you make out of it. It's like eyes are the sensors of the light, but eyes don't see all the light. You understand? They only see some of it. So basically, the real light you can never see. Like how far wide it can be, you can never see. In the sound also, like scientists have confirmed this, but you can never hear it. Similar way, the actual sound is there, but you cannot hear it. Similar way, the reality is there, but because of our mind model, we only take in a certain way. We only experience it in a certain way, in a limited way. So if you look for kind of like the feeling behind it, even by external world, if you just read it differently, you can read so much into it. The symbolism of it. Because it happens instinctively, so people don't pay it like much attention. Like they say like, it is happening. Like nobody thinks why old men sleep less, why it's hard, like you dream less in childhood and you start dreaming more and more in old age, because people have accepted like, it is just how it is, but why? Anyways, it's a long one. See you guys in the next episode. Keep going on. My plans, first time in my life I am hesitant. I don't know why. I have never hesitated in my life. But that was before like the mental breakdown phase. After that I am very like fearful, more fearful. Well, I should be less fearful, because I know if I can get out from there, like I can get out of anywhere. Still, let's see. Bye bye.